the much anticipated clash at Daytona. Gotta give it to NASCAR. They actually marketed this event pretty nice. We saw a lot of people around the NASCAR community being really hyped up for this event. The atmosphere was great. A lot of celebrities were present, both on the track and also as the grand marshals. Even the coverage, Fox actually came up with a pretty solid coverage, better than most of last year's coverage, I gotta say. It was a great improvement from their coverage last season for sure. So shout out to them as well. Tony Stewart and Kyle Busch especially. Like I knew Kyle Busch and the Busch brothers. We saw a glimpse of what they could be as commentators. And I gotta say, please give me more of the Busch brothers in the booth. Even if it's not like the two of them together. Give me at least one of the two, because the Busch brothers, they have great potential of being commentators as well. But also Tony Stewart. This was his first time commenting on NASCAR on Fox, and he did a great job. Like, the way he contrasted Clint Bowyer's like just colorful personality with just insightful and how an objective, like, you know how Stewart is, he tells it how it is. It was amazing. His synergy with Bowyer was great. Like, the contrast between the two of them on the booth was great. So I wouldn't mind seeing some Tony Stewart on the booth as well. But yeah, anyways, let's get into the main topic, the heat races, and of course the last chance qualifier. The main event hadn't even started, and there were already a lot of storylines. You got Ty Dillon just destroying the field on his way to a win at the last chance qualifier, only to get eliminated in the end because of a restart violation at the very end. It was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, it was really funny. You also had, of course, Rick Ware Racing. They actually surprised me. It was the biggest surprise of the whole Sunday. It was Rick Ware Racing actually ran pretty decent. Cody Ware looked pretty solid, and Ryan Preece, the last chance qualifier that Ty Dillon didn't. Ty Dillon was disqualified. Preece actually crossed the line second, but because of that DQ from Ty, he ended up winning. So, Rick Ware Racing actually won something. Who knew? And then we go into the main event. The first half of the race was pretty clean for the most part. There were, of course, most of the cautions that came because of mechanical failures, and this is what I'm gonna actually touch into, because this could actually be a theme for the 2022 season. Lots of mechanical failures, lots of overheating. There were 4 in total. I believe there was Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, Tyler Reddick, and 2 of them were front runners. I don't know if Hamlin was a front runner when he suffered his mechanical failure, but he was a big dog during that race, so that was, of course, notable. But yeah, major reliability issues with this next-gen car. And coupled with the Daytona 500, with most teams not bringing any backup cars to the Daytona 500 because they don't have enough units ready to run yet. I don't know, it looks like teams might take it easy for the first few races of the season, especially the smaller teams that don't have like a lot of resources. Also, another little detail like I really saw, one of the cautions, it was caused by a Chase Elliott spin. He just lost it on his own. And I just wanted to highlight that because the car control of the next gen car is insane. Like, you can just the LA Coliseum is a quarter-mile track. It's a quarter mile in length, and I don't think the speeds exceed 100 miles an hour. With this just being a short flat track, I don't think the speeds exceed 100 miles an hour at this track. So the fact that Chase Elliott spun out, made a 180-degree spin at this low of a speed, and actually came out of it with minimal damage, it shows that the car control of the next gen is really insane, which means that, and of course that's a good thing, that's what many fans were clamoring for when this new car was announced, that will it be more driver dependent? Well, it looks like it is. It looks like driver errors are gonna be more prevalent with a next gen car that is harder to drive. Of course, either that or teams just are still figuring out the new car, because again, we got a lot of overheating and mechanical failure, so there is a possibility that teams and drivers alike are still figuring out this car. It's still an unknown quantity at this point in time, but yeah, the racing overall was good. Of course, up front, like anyone who led the race, there were only 3 leaders: Kyle Busch, Joe Logano, Tyler Reddick. But the racing was giving me a lot of 2012 Bowman Gray Stadium vibes. And if you don't know what I'm talking about the 2012 K&N Pro Series race at Bowman Gray. And I'm not just saying that because of the names, because, I mean, you had the Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace back in that 2012 race, and today they were both... all of those names were in both of those races 9 years ago and actually 10 years ago, because it's 2022. But yeah, 10 years ago and today, that Bowman Gray race and the Clash at LA, they had a lot of NASCAR stars that we see today. But yeah, the racing was pretty... Many people are gonna say, oh, there wasn't that much action for the lead. But again, that's where the short track racing part comes in. The battles for mid-pack, they were really... The battle for the mid-pack was really... There were a lot of great battles in the mid-pack. And of course, there were lots of rivalries, lots of tempers flaring. In one of the qualifying races, for example, there was... actually, I believe this was in the last chance qualifier, yeah. Aric Almirola, he just got taken out by Todd Gilliland, the first casualty of the Gen 6 car, of the, not Gen 6, next gen car. The first casualty was Todd Gilliland taking Aric Almirola out of the race, and Almirola was pretty much livid, as it should be. We also, in the main event, we had Ryan Blaney and Eric Jones. Jones just put Blaney in the wall, and according to some witnesses that actually attended the race on the track, Blaney actually threw his hands device in Jones's direction as he was passing by when they were crossing the line for the pace car to get to catch up to the pace car. Of course, nobody caught the full thing, but hey, tempers flaring. Of course, there was also... And of course, the biggest thing was the Kyle Larson, Justin Haley thing. Larson, just in a rare moment, he lost his temper, and he just put Haley in the inside wall, and that was some huge damage there. I had never seen a next gen car. I almost said Gen 6 there. What's wrong with me? I almost... But yeah, the left front of that car was destroyed, and you could just see it. That was like, up until now, that's the most destruction I have seen out of a next gen car. The most carnage I had seen out of a next gen car. And of course, I mean, that wreck is on Larson, of course. And he even said it, and the way he just veered his car, the way he reacted, I don't want to believe that it was... I want to believe that it was loose, but another part of me believes that, bro, it's Larson. Larson can save... If that car was loose, Larson would have saved that. Yeah, it most likely was on purpose. It most likely was. Maybe Larson thought that Haley had just bumped him, even though it was William Byron who bumped Haley into Larson, and then Larson just took him out. It's on Larson, yeah, but again, I'm not gonna hold it that much against him. This is like the first time in a long time Larson has lost his temper. And I believe if he gets called out for it, I believe he would take responsibility for it, because that's just how Larson is. He has mellowed down ever since, that incident 2 years ago. Larson has really done a lot to like improve himself and stuff like that. If he gets called out on that, he will most likely own up to it. He will most likely apologize. Now, of course, and finally, Joe Logano won the race. And again, I say this not just because I like Joe Logano, but also because I gotta say, shout out to him. And on the birth of his new daughter, he said it in his victory interview that he's actually celebrating doubles or something along those lines, because he won the Clash, and then his wife was going into labor in the next few days. So that was pretty cool from Joey. He deserves all the love all the love in this. But yeah, the racing was nice. Also, Logano bumping Kyle Busch out of the way just before the halfway mark. And then during the final few laps, I really expected Kyle Busch to get there because they were approaching traffic. And I expected him to return the favor to Logano. But in the end, Logano just pulled away and won the whole thing. So the finish was a bit underwhelming, but overall, the race was pretty good. I was pretty hyped just seeing those next-gen cars. Great. And again, with how many amazing paint schemes I got there, the number placement is just growing on me. And in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't even matter anymore. Now, of course, things that can be improved upon, because this weekend was not perfect. First of all, the coverage from Fox, it was good, but it could still improve. There were a few things that were like, not that I wasn't too cool with. The commercials, first of all, but then again, that's more of a network decision. Like, you can only control commercials so damn much. Then there's the halftime show. The fans were silent. Ice Cube just delivered a really great halftime show. Like, most of the fans were out of place. Like, they didn't know who Ice Cube was or what this music was. Like, NASCAR fans are usually more of a country music people, so for them to listen to this West Coast rap song, that must have been a bit of a culture shock for them. I guess rap is not their favorite genre, but also I also saw that from people that were on the crowd, they tweeted that they actually enjoyed the show and they were actually cheering. So, but we didn't hear that I was watching that from TV, but Fox gave them no mics from the broadcast. It looked like the fans were silent, when the truth is that Fox gave them no mics, and that kind of took the hype out of the halftime show. It seemed like Ice Cube was just rapping and nobody was cheering. Yeah, that was a bit awkward. Also, logistical issues, parking. There were again, I saw on Twitter a few tweets saying people were actually struggling with finding a parking spot, and they actually had to park and they had to walk up to an hour of walking distance between there and the LA Coliseum. So again, and of course, before the main event even started, a few hours before the main event was underway, the stadium wasn't even half full yet. I guess those logistical issues must have played a part in that. And finally, and again, I want to highlight this. After Logano won the Clash, we saw this onboard shot of the cars leaving the Coliseum and going to the street and just pacing across the street to the haulers, because the haulers are actually outside of the Coliseum. That was actually pretty cool, and it gives me more hype, and after I saw that shot, I really want to see a street race in NASCAR. Just make it happen, because that shot of the cars leaving the Coliseum and just crossing the street like at pace speed, that was really badass. Like, imagine living around that area and just watching those. Imagine being a NASCAR fan living in that area and watching like those next gen cars parading in the front yard of your home. Like, that would just give you the literal chills. You would be so starstruck watching those drivers going by. Maybe one of them waving at you. Would be cool. Like, all of this weekend, I would consider it a. If I had to give it like a letter grade, I would give it like a B plus. I would give it. There were some things that could be improved upon, but overall, this was a great first showing for the next gen car, and it definitely put a lot of eyes on this sport of NASCAR. This is a new era for NASCAR, and I think for the very first showing of this new era of NASCAR, they did pretty good.